Today's movie is Free Guy. Our movie starts in a city called Free City, and a young man wearing sunglasses shows up, and it turns out that the people who wear sunglasses are the reckless heroes who live in the city. The young man comes down and rides a car that does not belong to him, and he doesn't allow the girl in the car either. But he does what he wants because he is wearing the sunglasses. Then he has several chases with police officers, and they shot him with fire in all ways, but in the end he succeeds in escaping them and killing them. This young man called Jay, he wakes up, goes to check on his fish, changes his clothes, and has breakfast before going to his job at the bank. Then Jay goes to get his coffee from the cafeteria next to the bank. He chats with the girl who serves him coffee and says hello to Officer Johnny, who is sitting in the cafeteria having breakfast. While he is walking out, he sees a pair of shoes that he really likes it and tells the salesman, "I will go back and buy them." Then he goes to the ATM to get money from his Visa, but the money is not enough to buy the shoes. He meets his friend, Buddy, and the two of them walk to the bank. They start walking and talking, but strange things happen, like they find a man whose store glass breaks and falls in front of them. Jay and his friend start their job at the bank, and Jay is looking for a partner for his life so much that when he sees any two people together, he wants to be like them. His friend continues to be patient with him and tells him that you will find the girl you want. And while they are talking, a robbery gang enters the bank, and Jay and his friend lie down and continue their conversation on the date of Jay's dream girl, and the bank president comes out. But one of the robbery gang attacks him. Then we find a man in a very strange outfit with a girl coming down with a rope from above and asking for something. But he says, "I don't have it, but I know who have it." The girl raises her gun at him and says, "You know what I do for the people that waste my time?" The man in the strange outfit replies, "We can meet again soon." The girl says, "I don't want to see your mother's grave right now." The man says, "You like to joke around a lot." He shows her a map of a secret location she's been searching and hands her in exchange for a tape he has been asking for. But he asks her for another tape. The girl says, "I hate people who ask me so many questions," and walks away. But as she walks away, he asks her again and she kills him. Then we meet Jay walking with his friend in the city after work, and he says, "Did you see the shoes the robber wore in the bank robbery?" His friend asked, "Which one? The robbery that ended at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock?" And Jay says, "No, the one at 4 o'clock. While they're talking, the girl who appeared first and killed the man who was wearing a strange outfit appears. Jay sees her and goes into a daze because he likes her so much and asks her what song she was singing when she was walking. The girl says, "It's not a song," and walks away. Jay wants to go after her, and his friend tries to stop him and says that she is one of those people who wear sunglasses. But Jay doesn't listen to his words and prefers to follow her until he arrives at a railroad track and tries to cross it, but a train comes and knocks him down. Then it turns out that the girl was playing a game, and all that was happening was just a graphic in a game, and the girl saves the game for another time. Then she sees an advertisement for the same game, but the second part of it, and the girl who works in the restaurant where she is sitting says, "We are closing. You look like you are addicted to the game like the rest of the people who are obsessed with it." But the girl replies that she has filed a lawsuit against the publisher, and the evidence she wants is in the game. Then the game starts all over again, and Jay starts the same day he starts every day, and he goes to the cafe and finds the girl who works there giving him his usual coffee. But Jay wants to change and drink something new. The girl and those in the place are surprised by his words. Officer Johnny says that what you're doing is a strong habit, but Jay insists on drinking a cappuccino. We find that a tank came and stood in front of the cafe and pointed at Jay. Then Jay sees what happened in the place as a result of the strange request and tells them that he was doing this to scare them, but not more, and tells them that he was just joking and took it from her, drank it, and left the place. He goes to the bank where he works, and the robbery gang comes in like every day. Jay, his friend, and everyone else in the bank get down. But Jay sees the girl he saw the day before and wants to go back to her, but his friend stops him. And tells him that the girl is a sunglasses girl, which means you can't talk to her because you don't wear sunglasses like them. Jay says that I will have the sunglasses, and he calls one of the robbery gang and asks him for the sunglasses he's wearing. Then it turns out that a girl is controlling the character of the robber Jay is talking to, and the guy keeps hitting Jay and warn him that he will kill him, and Jay's friend warns him about what he's doing. But Jay has only one goal, to get the sunglasses so he can go and talk to the girl he's seen. Jay succeeds in taking it, but kills the person he took it from by mistake. And everyone in the place is stunned by what Jay is doing, but Jay puts the gun down, grabs the sunglasses, and runs to catch up the girl. Then Jay comes out, sees the girl, puts on the glasses, and the first time he puts them on, he chokes because he's seeing things for the first time, like he's in a game with guns, airplanes, tanks. However, Jay sees a first aid kit on the ground and asks a man sitting on it. But the man doesn't see it because he is not wearing the sunglasses that Jay is wearing. Jay takes the sunglasses off and puts it on to make sure he can see it when he reaches for it to pick it up. He goes back to normal, and the wounds on his face disappear. Jay walks around the city afterward and sees everything that happens in the game while wearing the sunglasses. And he meets someone who was flying up, then fell to the ground, died and showed around him money. Jay goes to take the money from the man. He finds his account has increased and goes to spend the money he earned. In the game's headquarters, the two young men, Keys and Mouser, are sitting watching Jay's work in the game and saying that he is an unplayable person. How can he do that? Mouser replies to Keys and says that you can block him for life and never be in the game again. Keys replies and says, I tried to do that, but I couldn't. Jay is very good. And we find them both agreeing that they play and choose characters from the game to go and get rid of Jay. Then we see Jay coming out of a sports store, wearing the shoes he liked before, and he walks down the street until he reaches the railroad tracks and stands until the train comes. Jay sees a door after the railroad and looks at it from a distance. At the same time, Mouser and Keys, the two young men who picked Officer and Rabbit characters in the game, are standing where Jay is standing, and they have a big discussion until they shoot at Jay, and they run after him while he's trying to escape and shoot at him. At the same time, Jay discovers that the shoes he's wearing can make him jump very high, and he manages to get away from them. But Mouser and Keys keep chasing Jay and find out where he's jumped. He keeps running, and they keep shooting until he comes out on a bridge. He tries to run on it, but he falls into the street, and Jay manages to escape from them. But Mouser and Keys knock him by a car and he dies. After they kill him, Mouser and Keys start talking to each other, and Keys says, "How did this happen?" Mouser replies, "There must be a bug in the game." And Mouser tells Keys, "How can you be a great game designer when there is silly bug like this?" And Keys replies, "That's a very long story." Then we see a TV interview of Keys and his friend, Millie, who co-invented a new game with him. The game has spread all over the world and they become famous. Keys comes home to find his friend watching the interview, and it turns out that Antoine, the owner of Free City, bought the AI that was in their game and put it in his game, and they didn't get paid properly for what happened. Millie says that she's found the proof. It is hidden in one of the player's tapes in Free City game, and asks Keys to let her in. And Keys says, "I will take care of it, don't worry." Then Jay wakes up to a new day and changes his shirt to start the day as usual. Meanwhile, Millie starts the game and gets the map she took from the guy who was wearing a strange outfit. She opens the map and goes to a place where she can find evidence that Antoine took their AI. Millie goes to the place and watches the guards and looks for the entry and exit. At the same time, she meets Jay, who comes down to the same place where she is. Then she tries to find out who Jay is and thinks he is a non-player character. But Jay reminds her of himself and that he saw her singing a song while walking and kept following her in order to meet her. At the same time, the gang sees them and shoots at them. Millie shoots back until she uses one of her techniques and escapes with Jay. After they escape to the next place, Jay asks Millie, "What happened?" She says, "You were going to ruin my mission." He tells her that he didn't mean it. He was just trying to help her. Then Millie goes to her weapons and takes every piece she can take. And while she's there, Jay introduces himself and tells her he's going to help her with the job she was going to do. Millie says that she likes to work alone. Then we find Jay trying to get weapons like her, but he can't. So Millie tells him that to use these weapons he must have a high level like her. Then Millie shows him her level and sees that his level is only 1, and she says that he must be at least 100 to use strong weapons. Jay asks her how he can increase his level. Millie says that he can hit people walking on the street and cause any riot in this way. His level will increase. Jay replies that he will never hurt innocent people walking on the street. Millie is a little impressed by Jay's words, but she says that the whole world wants this. Jay replies that the world is not that bad. Millie tells him, "If you meet the person in charge of this world, you will agree with me. In my opinion," Jay says, "you're talking about God. You want to say you met God?" Millie says, "I'm talking about Antoine, who owns the game." Millie says, "If you really want to level up without hurting anyone, you can take weapons from people with sunglasses." Jay says, "How will I know when my level is enough for you?" Millie says, "When you reach 100, we'll talk." Jay comes out of Millie's place, full of energy and contemplating everything on the world until he puts on his sunglasses and starts his mission to be a perfect man, defending people and taking weapons from people who beat them. But at first, he is easily killed because he has not yet acquired any skills that allow him to carry out his mission. But after a while, his level increases. Then we find all the people who play Free City talking about the character of the blue shirt Jay, and they say that he plays the role of the hero of the game, and they want to know his real identity. Subsequently, children around the world try to imitate him and become like him. At the same time, we find that Jay's level is increasing, and he is able to accomplish the tasks that were difficult for him at first until he reaches the level that Millie demanded from him. Then Jay goes to the bank where he works and meets his friend and asks him, "Where have you been for 2 days?" and asks him what he's wearing. Jay responds by apologizing and saying, "I will tell everything that happened." Jay says that he talked to the girl they saw while walking. His friend says, "You talked to the girl with the sunglasses?" And Jay says, Yes, because I'm one of those who wear sunglasses too. At the same time, we see the gang breaking into the bank, but Jay doesn't pay any attention to them and keeps talking to his friend about how his life has changed because of the sunglasses he wore. Then we find one of the gang members attacking him, but Jay succeeds in taking his gun and tells his friend to take the chance and try the sunglasses and see the difference it will make in his life. He takes the sunglasses from the gangster and gives it to his friend, but his friend didn't accept it and says, "I can't take it." Jay then takes the gun from the guy who was breaking into the bank and says, "Go away," and tells the girl who was with him that you should be with a better man than this. Keys gets a message at work from Millie asking him to help her. We see Millie arrives at the place where the tape of the stolen AI was recorded. Then Keys is able to open the door and let her in and tells her that he can't help her anymore. Millie goes to the place where the tape is and takes it, but the security alarm goes off and the gang attacks her. But at the same time, Jay enters the place and starts shooting the gang members. Millie is impressed by his presence. Keys asks, "Who are you talking to?" Millie says, "He is the blue shirt guy, the NPC who's been kicking the gang members' asses." We see Jay is very attracted to her and what she is doing, and he goes to take the motorcycle and tells Millie that they have to go now. And the two of them manage to escape. Then, Antoine, the head of the company that released Free City, enters the company's building and meets one of the employees who tells him about the blue shirt character and that they will get rid of him. But Antoine responds to him and says that people love him. We will need his character in Free City too. Afterwards, Keys comes and says that the game has flaws and people are complaining about it, and he tells Antoine that they can make a real game that is much better than this game. But Antoine responds by saying that if people love the game, then the new game must be in the same style, because it doesn't make sense for me to change it while everyone likes it. And Antoine says to Keys, "I don't want you to think about anything except the creativity of the company." Then Keys opens the game again, while Jay and Millie go to a place called Free City Armory, and Jay tells her that he has leveled up in order to reach this moment. They keep talking to each other, and Millie asks him about his identity and personality because she wonders how his level is rising so fast. Then they get closer and walk together, and they go to eat ice cream. They find out that they both like the same taste, and Millie says, "You're so funny in a strange way." The two of them are walking together, and Millie says she loves swing sets because they make her feel free and loose. She also says that her name is Mila, not Molotov, and he tells her that his name is Jay, not Blue Shirt Guy. Then we find Keys going to Millie's house, knocking on her door. He comes in and says, "You were right about everything." He tells her that their code is in Free City and that the characters change and grow because of our code. That's why Free City is successful, because it shows people reality, so their love for the game increases because of that. Because of our code, he tells her that the character in the blue shirt is not a player. The AI has been able to develop himself. He also says, "Antoine was teasing us about not using our code. Free City 2 is not an update to Free City 1, because when it comes out, our code will be wiped out, and the blue shirt won't be in the game anymore." Keys then tells her that we have exactly 48 hours before the release of Free City 2 to prove that the code Antoine used in Free City 1 is ours, and tells her that she can tell the blue shirt to help her because he won't exist if the new game comes out, so he has to save his world. Then Millie goes to Jay and says, "I want to tell you something important," and Jay laughs and says, "Are you married?" And Millie says, "No," and Jay says, "Nothing will be worse than that," and he and the ice cream man laugh. But Millie says, "Come with me and I'll tell you the worst." Millie takes Jay to the place where the players are gathering and playing their game, and Jay watching all the action on the screens. Millie says, "I'm here to tell you that this city and everything that's happening in it is just a game." He says, "I know it's a game, and you taught me how to play it." Millie says, "It's not like a game, it's a game literally." He asks her, "The whole world is a game." She says, "Exactly." Jay says, "Are we just players in this game?" Millie says, "Not all of us are players. Some characters are players. You are one of the characters we call NPC." Jay remembers some of the events that happened in the game and gets a little confused by Millie's words. He says, "I'm fake and the whole world is fake?" He says, "Why have you never said that to me before while you know how much I love you?" And Millie says, "You feel like you love me because you're programmed like that." Jay is very surprised by Millie's words and walks away. Millie then follows him and tells him that he must help her, because if the new game comes out, you won't be in it. But Jay gets mad and tells her that he was lifeless until he saw her and started to feel a new way of life. And he says while he is touched, "You're real and I'm nothing." He leaves Millie and walks away. Millie is touched by his words as he is. Then Jay continues to walk indifferent to everything around him until he reaches the sea and grabs a brick and throw it. But he finds that it disappears, as if the world he lives in is virtual and ends at this sea, and that no one can cross it. He tries to cross it, but then he realizes that if he crosses it, he won't exist anymore. Jay becomes confused and very nervous because He realizes that everything he lives in is just an illusion and his life is a lie. He returns to the streets of Free City and can't stand any of the people on the street. He even shouts to the old lady, who is always searching for her cat. Then he stands in the middle of the street and says that this street is fake, this city is fake, and everything here is fake. But a car comes and hits him. He dies and starts the game all over again. Then Jay visits his friend Buddy at his house and talks to him and asks him, "What would you do if you knew you weren't real?" At first, Buddy laughs at him, but he starts to understand and realizes what he means and says, "I'm here to help my friend and stand by him in his ordeal." Jay is surprised by his friend's words and asks him, "Even if you know that you are not real?" His friend replies, "Even if I am not real, it is enough for me that I enjoy the moment. What I am doing right now to help my friend is real." Jay is stunned by his words, and then he says, "Do you have any connection with the security guards?" His friend replies, "Sure," Jay says. "Let's go. We have another mission to do right now." Then Jay takes his friend to the place where he was helping Millie, and he tells his friend that we came here to help Millie and get the videotape she wanted and give it to her. While they are talking, the owner of the place comes to them and says, "How did you get in here so easily?" Jay replies, "We came here to get the videotape." And the man says, "Are you Blue Shirt Guy?" Jay replies, "Yes, I am." The man is very happy and says that he is his biggest fan and says, "You can take whatever you want." And he continues to talk and tells other players that the Blue Shirt Guy is with him right now. Jay in a funny way asks him and says, "Who you are talking to?" But the man thinks he is joking and laughs at his words, and then he goes to get the videotape and give it to him. Then Jay goes to Millie and tries to wake her up to let her know that he found the tape she was searching for. But Millie is disconnected from the game, but suddenly she connects and finds Jay, who hands her the tape, and she is very happy with it. Then we find people on social media very interested in Jay, talking about him and following what he is doing. At the same time, we find Antoine, who is upset that people are not interested with Free City 2, and as they are interested with an NPC. He goes to his company's building and talks to the technicians who designed the characters for the new game, and meets Keys and tells him to destroy the guy in the blue shirt. Keys replies, "The Blue Shirt Guy is not a hacker, so I can't destroy him. He is just an NPC." Then Antoine is confused by Keys' words and sits on the floor to think and makes very weird movements. But then he gets up and tells the designers and technicians working with him that we can restart the AI from the beginning, and asks the people working with him to give him ideas about that. When one of them says that if we reboot the server, he will return an NPC again, Antoine agrees with the young man's opinion and says, "Do it." Then we find Jay and Millie sitting in a place and playing the videotape that Jay brought for Millie. Millie says that she waited a long time to get this videotape, and while the tape is playing, Jay tells her that he has seen this place before. But on the other hand, the guy who got the order from Antoine to reboot the game from the beginning did so. He stopped the tape and stopped everything around him. Even Millie's movement stopped, and everyone else in the place got the same thing because the game stopped. Jay comes out of the place and sees everything around him is bugged until everything gradually disappears with Jay, and Free City go offline. Then the game starts all over again at the same moment, and Jay starts the day as he and his friend Buddy go down to do their job at the bank. But while they are walking, Millie appears and goes to Jay to remind him about her and what he was doing with her. But Jay doesn't remember anything and apologizes to her and walks away. Millie then calls Keys on the phone in real life and tells him what happened, but Keys tells her that he has discovered something very important and asked her to open the game log. Millie opens the game log while talking to Keys, and Keys starts explaining everything about Jay and his programming in the game, explaining that his AI created to find his life partner in the game and he looking for her until he met you. And everything started to change from the first time he saw you. And he told her that everything is in her hands to remind him about all the events in the game. Then Millie enters the game and enters the bank where Jay is working as one of the robbery gang and takes Jay out of the bank and leaves. While they are out, Millie tells him that he is programmed to go to the bank every day and work and follow instructions, and hands him a pair of sunglasses and asks him to wear them. At first, Jay refuses, but then he puts them on and sees strange things and pulls them off his eyes. Millie starts to say that the world will disappear in 24 hours. But while they are talking, a police car comes, and Millie shoots it with her gun, and then Jay started to remember everything happened. Then they go to Jay's house, and Jay tells her about his daily routine. She calls Keys to tell him what she saw and says, "Try to get to this place." And Keys says he'll try to do something. Then Jay goes to gather all the NPCs and starts telling them the truth about their whole world, and asks the guy who always has his hands up because he's afraid of gangs to put his hands down. But the guy's programmed to do that. Jay starts telling them about the world he will live in with Millie, and that it is a quiet world without gangs, murders, and robberies that happen in the place they are in. They all start to get excited about the life he tells them, but Jay tells them that in order to go to this world, we have to struggle and fight, and they all agree to Jay's words and start their mission. Then we find all the players standing in the game, wondering what's going on because they can't find any of the NPCs to play with. And the YouTubers start talking about the AI of the blue shirt guy and his control over all the people simply because everyone loves him. Then we find Antoine watching all the videos demanding to fix the game, and he finds a video among the videos in which he realizes that what is happening in the game is caused by Millie, who was demanding to sue him and accused him of stealing their artificial intelligence and putting it in his game. Antoine goes to one of his co-workers and says, "Remove her from the game." But the guy says it's hard because her account is exceptional. So Antoine says, "Okay, kill her in the game." But the guy says it's hard to kill her because the NPCs are on strike and need to find a solution to all this. On the other hand, the NPCs stay in a cafeteria by themselves and do whatever they want, breaking the rules they've been following. Antoine tells the guy he's working with, "We're going to kill them all." And the guy says, "Any player who dies is gone forever." And Antoine says, "I don't care at all." Then we find Jay and Millie riding a car in the game and trying to go to the beach where Antoine is hiding the AI that he took from Millie and Keys. But while they are riding the car, they get chased by the young man who works with Antoine and tries to delay them in any way. At the same time, we see Keys helping Millie and Jay with the game and letting them escape from the chase, and the guy working with Antoine gets angry because he realizes that someone has done this and asks who helped Jay and Millie. Then Millie and Jay continue on their way, and Antoine and his co-worker go to follow them from the main screen, and the young man says to Antoine, "Where they are going?" Antoine replies, "They are going to Hitman Beach," and the young man replies, "There is nothing by the sea except water." Afterwards, Antoine orders the technicians to release a new character in the game that he started working on, and he orders them release it to go kill Jay and prevent him and Millie from what they want to do, but the technicians tell Antoine that the character has not yet been completed and could be glitched. However, Antoine insists on downloading the character to the game. Then we find Antoine ordering the security guards to bring Keys to his office and talk to him and answer him about the code that he and Millie had. And Keys responds by saying that, "What code?" and asks him, "Did you already use our code in your game?" Antoine responds by saying that the game he and Keys made was a stupid game, and if it had been downloaded, it wouldn't have done anything. Keys is surprised by Antoine's words. He takes out his laptop, enters the game, and builds a big bridge for Jay and Millie to run across. While Jay and Millie are overjoyed and Millie thinks she's finally close to the truth about her and Keys' code theft. The technician who works with Antoine comes in and says that things have gotten worse. He explains to Antoine that this is because of what Keys did. Sue Antoine to fire Keys and tells the young man to delete all the players in the game and close all their accounts. The technician goes to execute Antoine's order, and suddenly Millie starts to disappear. But as she disappears, she tells Jay to go ahead and complete what they begun until the truth about the construction of our game comes out. Then all the players in the game disappear. At the same time, Keys, while grabbing his stuff and walking out of the office, helps Jay to complete his mission and lets all the players whose accounts have been locked out to watch Jay's mission on their screen. But then what happens is that the technicians working with Antoine unleash the character Dude, whose mission is to get rid of Jay and stop him from the mission he wants to do. Dude comes down, hits Jay, and everyone in the game is surprised by the character, but at the same time. But Dude hits Jay's friend very hard and goes on to punch Jay again, who can't resist at all. Antoine orders the guy he's working with to do the fatal blow to get rid of Jay, and Dude goes to hit Jay with the fatal blow, but Jay wears the sunglasses and blocks the blow with Captain America's shield, who is watching the game on his phone. At the same time, Jay gets up and beats Dude, only to find him wielding a lightsaber and beating him until he falls to the ground. Dude gets up and runs at Jay and jumps on him. Jay's friend gives him his sunglasses to put them on to help him get rid of Dude. But Jay does the opposite and lets Dude wear the glasses so that Dude get distracted by the things he sees. Antoine gets very angry and goes to the game's server room to destroy it, while Jay tries to cross the bridge with his friend Buddy. Antoine enters the room with the technician, and Antoine asks about the Free City servers, but the technician is surprised by what he wants to do. Antoine hits the servers that control the Free City game to destroy them, and at the same time the destruction appears on the game and everything starts to disappear from the game gradually. Then we find Antoine asking the young man about the servers that control the bridge that Keys had built in the game so that he can destroy it as well. But the young man replies, "I won't tell you because you will destroy it as well." Antoine replies, "I will do what I want. It's my game." But the technician replies, "No, it's not your game. It's Keys' game." And Antoine gets angry with the technician and orders the security to kick him out as well. At the same time, Jay keeps running with his friend on the bridge, but Antoine is destroying the game servers, and a hole appears on the bridge separating Jay and his friend Buddy, and Jay apologizes to him for not being able to save him. But Buddy shows great courage and makes everyone watching admire his character very much. Antoine continues to destroy the game, and Jay tries to get to the end of the bridge and runs while everyone is watching and cheering him on. And eventually Jay succeeds in reaching the end of the bridge, and everyone is waiting to see what will happen next. Suddenly we find the building for Keys, and Millie appeared and Jay reaches it and everyone is happy, even Keys, because he feels that he has reached what he wants. Then Millie goes to Antoine while he is destroying the game's servers and says, "It's over. Jay has reached the original code of our game." Antoine, in a state of calm, says, "What's the next step you want to do, sue me?" Millie replies, "Sure, we'll do that." Antoine says, "I'm fine with you doing that, but there's a bug you don't know about. I will destroy it now." Millie says she doesn't want anything more than the world she's built with the people in it. Antoine says, "What's in it for me?" Millie says, "Everything will be yours, all the profits belong to you, and the next parts of Free City are all yours." Antoine is very surprised and says, "You know, it's the most stupid deal in the history of stupid deals. You want to give up all these millions of dollars." Millie says, "I don't need the fame or the millions to prove that Keys and I have done something miraculous." She says she is done playing his game, and it's time for her to play her own. Afterward, Keys, Millie, and his friend meet in their house, continuing to create their game, and watching the news that Antoine has lost a lot of things and is being targeted by a lot of people. Meanwhile, Keys offers Millie to go out with him and have a cup of coffee somewhere, but Millie refuses and says she will continue with the game, and we find out that Keys had a crush on her for a long time. Then Keys and Millie's free life game starts, and Jay and Millie are in the game together, walking and talking and thinking about all the events that have happened recently. And we find all the people who were NPCs in Free City with them. Then Jay tells Millie that he loves her, but that his love for her is the result of his programming. So there is someone in the outside world wrote the program for her, and that Jay is just a love message to her, but the writer is someone else in the real world. Then we find Millie is stunned. Jay's words. After that, a video appears on her screen of Keys explaining how he programmed Jay's character, and that Keys designed Jay's character to meet the girl of his dreams, so that Jay's dream girl is his dream girl. After hearing all this, Millie runs off to meet Keys and tells him that she knows everything about his love for her, and they stare at each other for a very long time. Then we find Jay in the Free Life game, and he starts to get along with Evie in it, even with Dude. But while walking, he meets Buddy, who appeared in the Free Life game, and Jay is very happy and wonders how he survived the events that happened in Free City. Buddy explains to him, and they both run and hug each other. And like this, our today's movie ends. See you.